People often say things like, if you don't know who you are, you should go travel by yourself. Or if you don't know what to do next in life, you should go figure it out and travel. And while these statements promote something that I really believe in, which is traveling by yourself, I don't necessarily think they're true. So I'm going to be sharing 5 things that I learned along the way that traveling solo won't necessarily give you. First of all, traveling won't give you an exit. Often people travel as an escape, and to think that travel will give you an exit is to avoid confrontation. But traveling will give you perspective, and it'll allow you to see things from a distance, and it might give you that mental clarity that you need in the first place to realize why it is that you want an exit to begin with. I clearly remember how I felt in 3 specific places. On a Monday afternoon alone in Bondi Beach in Sydney during sunset, as well in Bribie Island, and by the Ganges River in Rishikesh in India. And these were 3 instances that I felt mental clarity, in the sense that I felt complete solitude and at ease in my own thoughts and my own feelings, and I let myself express that, whether that be letting a tear trickle down my cheek or just smile in awe and in gratitude. And even though these moments were temporary, they really remained ingrained in my mind as breathers and as reminders to continue this inner dialogue with myself of why it is that I've been using traveling or escaping as a coping mechanism in my everyday life. And traveling allowed me to have that perspective. Number 2 is that traveling won't necessarily give you something to add to your CV, and that is totally fine. I at least grew up thinking that every activity that I did in school, whether that be extracurricular or academic, I would find a way to add it to my CV. What I learned traveling is that it's totally okay for these things to not have to be added to that career CV that we deem so important to all of our lives. And sometimes change isn't quantifiable, and inner change and inner growth is something that can't be expressed to the outside world, or can't be written down in our career CV. So what I started to do is make my own life CV, and even though that may sound cheesy, I really recommend you do it, because I started writing down everything that I had learned, whether that be about myself or any change or growth that I had experienced, for example, whilst traveling. So the past year for me was one of a lot of growth, and what I was thinking is, while other people or my peers are adding things to their career CV, I'm experiencing more growth than I was, for example, in school or in uni, but that can't be added to that, or that can't be understood or quantified by others, and that is so okay. And that goes to my next point. Point number 3 is that traveling won't give you social recognition. So while we're traveling and we're seeing all these amazing places, life is going to continue for everyone. So your friends back home might still be together, or your friend might have moved in with her partner, might have gotten a promotion, your other friend might have continued studying, and life goes on. So people might not even understand why you chose to travel in the first place, or they might question it or belittle it, or might think you're going through some sort of life crisis. But self-assurance comes from within. And all you need to know is that traveling teaches you that social recognition is a construct of the societies that we revolve ourselves around. And when you travel, what's interesting is that you're going to see completely different social groups and new people to compare yourself to, and you're going to realize this accountability that I had for myself at home, and this comparison to this particular social group is so malleable, and it can be changed regardless of where you are, and whether that be that when you're traveling you meet more like-minded people and points of comparison that you feel more attracted to, or you might just realize, you know what am I living for? Is the social recognition back home worth living a life that I'm not purely content with? My 4th point is that traveling won't give you answers. So something that we hear really often is, if you don't know what to do next in life, you can travel. And that's what I decided to do. So I graduated uni last year and I wasn't so sure what I wanted to do. I knew I didn't want to continue in the job that I was in. So I decided to travel and thought that this would figure it out for me. And traveling will not give you answers, but what it will give you is doors, and it'll shake you from routine, and it'll give you options you maybe didn't even know existed. At the very least, it'll give you a breath of fresh air and a time of consideration. And as much as it won't give you answers and it won't give you a path, it'll give you a certainty that there is no right or wrong. So that's what I learned, is that I was so focused on finding this one path that was right for me. What I did learn traveling is that there are so many different roads that we can take, and there is no right or wrong in life, particularly. And point number 5 is that traveling won't give you some sort of self-revelation. We often hear people that go traveling to find themselves, and that might not always be the case. So traveling is not going to lay out this self-revelation process for you on a plate. In our day-to-day lives, we're surrounded by constant noise, whether that be social media, our friends, our family, our constant minds wandering away, and we don't really find this time to really be with ourselves. And I found that when I was traveling by myself, I was finally confronted with all these thoughts and all these feelings that I'd been suppressing back home. And what I also realized was that when I was meeting people when I was traveling, I started to really like myself, and I really liked how I was presenting myself to others. And I was free from all these labels that I held for myself back home, whether that was as a sister, as a friend, or as a daughter. And when I was free from these labels and I was constantly reintroducing myself to people, I liked who I was becoming and who I truly was presenting myself as. And I think that was truly returning to myself. So traveling won't put self-revelation on your plate, but it'll bring you, whether it be step by step, that much closer back to you and to your essence.